Chinese vocabulary is actually called tango.
Tango.
It takes two
So-
to tango.
Tango.
I like-
Tango is Chinese.
This guy.
Mr. Wong.
Tango.
Feel attacked.
Feel attacked. So tango. So there will be few tango or vocabulary that we'll be learning. So we shall start. So this one, I guess I'll go a bit fast because it's quite easy. It's just more to memorizing the meaning. So the first one, we have ano. So ano. So this one is actually used more to like a filler word of like you use before you are like when you are thinking of what to say next. So it's basically like actually. So for example like ano daijoubu desu ka? You know like are you okay? That kind of meaning. Why are you laughing? This
And
guy.
nothing. And carry on with your class. I shall be supervising.
Okay. So we have ano. We have the kat sini ada. Okay. And then the next one we have ima. Ima. No. Satu mata. The life. Why? Ya Allah. I blame you, Alif.
I knew this was gonna happen. That's why I'm supervising.
Ayah. Okay, you know what? It's time to use the laptop. Itulah semalam elok je.
Abala sensei.
Ayah.
I think I have a few theories tapi kita buat nanti next time.
It's the Chinese dude, man.
It's the Chinese, man. Oh my god.
These people.
Aircon repairman that scams people.
Ya, sekarang oksigen dah habis dah sampai.
Yeah, I'll be back.
And they... Oh wow, kenapa bawa boyfriend pergi kelas?
Wow.
Hello.
Jangan menyebutkan dompet ni.
Kenapa mengaku?
Anda terus mute. This Mr. Tony Stark.
Don't worry, I know.
You know what, Mr. Wong sounds really cool right now.
I don't know. I mean, it's not just me.
Yes.
I want to be called a cool name. Oh.
I guess it depends on
Wow, aku dapat sayu. Wow.
This guy,
I do my words.
Sayu, come on man, the 4 star. Aku expect 5 star. Ya, kan? Tak apalah.
Okay, you guys can see it, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Alright.
Aku tak tengok pun ni.
Itu dah dia. Okay, the next one was ima. So ima. So basically ima actually means now. Ima. Ima nani wa shiteimasu ka right now? What are you doing? So ima. And then the next one is
I don't submit
ego.
but I think
Ego. This one is actually like it spells like this, but it's actually like ego.
trust.
But the pronunciation, I guess, technically is like this. Ego. Which is English language. So nani go. Oh yeah, I forgot. I have to open my phone to see the chat. So I cannot see the chat. Timothy.
Chattermatic.
So ego. So which means English language. So nani go. Go actually the kanji is this one. And it actually represents the meaning of language.
Oh yeah, I want to ask, how is these ones?
So it can be like, for example, this channel's name, Nihon in kanji. And this one is actually Japan, the meaning of Japan. But this one is the meaning of language. So if you combine it, it will become Japanese language. The same goes for this one, ego. So the A is actually representing the kanji of if I'm not mistaken, Britain, actually. Britain. So it will become English language. So, and then the next one is A. So this one is actually used more in like conversation, which means yes. So yes. In other words, there's also kite. Right? This one is the usual formal one, but you can also use a in conversation actually. Convos. It also means yes. A. And then the next one we have gakse. Gakuse. So gakse actually means student. For example, you want to say Malaysian student. Malaysia no gakse. Gakuse. So student. And then we have nani nani go. So this one is the one that I explained, where go actually represents the language. And one of the example would be like Nihongo, Japanese language. Or you can be like Eigo, Chugokugo. Chugokugo means Chinese. Chugokugo. So, and then next one is Koko. Koko actually means high school. Koko, high school. If it's like middle school, if it's middle school, you call it Chu Gaku. Chuga. Chugakko. 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 Middle school. Chugakko. Koko is high school. Koko. And then if you actually add say at the back, which is the same kanji as gakse punya say, it'll be the meaning of high school student. The say actually represents student. So if you add koko and then you become koko say, then it'll become the meaning of high school student. Then the next one, both of these are actually used for time, indicate time. So the first one is gogo. So gogo actually represents PM. So for example, you want to say 10 PM. So 10 in Japanese is ju. Ju. And then if you want to say o'clock, basically, o'clock, you use the word ji. Ji. And then if you want to say that it is in 10 o'clock and it's PM, basically you have to use this word in front of the number first. So in this case, it will become gogo juji. Gogo juji. So that is how you use it. If it's in English, you use like 10 PM, it's at the back. But if in Japanese, you use the PM first, then you put 10 o'clock. That's how it works in Japanese. So this one is a bit confusing, but you'll get used to it. So you say gogo juji. And the same goes for the AM in the morning. So you say gozen, gozen juji, which becomes 10 AM. Gozen juji. And then next one is nani nani sai. So sai is basically represents age or like years old. So at the front, basically what you have to do is just add a number. So for example, you want to say you are 22, niju nisai, or you are 21, niju isai. But of course, you need to remember that if it's 20 years old, then it has a special reading, which is hatachi. This one is special. You have to remember, they use hatachi instead of like nijusai. They use hatachi, which represents 20 years old. But the other will be like the normal, you just add the number at the front and then at side, basically that is your age. For example, 30 years old, san jusai, example. So that is sai. And then the next one is nani nani san. So san is usually a formal way of calling that person Mr. or Mrs. Basically, it doesn't have a gender punya meaning. So you can just call by their name and then add san at the back. And usually they would call it by their family name and then san at the back. For example, like if the family name is Tanaka, then you call that person Tanaka-san, for example. Or Yamamoto-san, for example. San, nani nani san, Mr. or Mrs. And then the next one is nani nani ji. So this one is the one that I explained for this part, actually. Nani nani ji. So the G here represent the clock, basically. So you add a number at the front. You add a number at the front, Juji, for example. Or for example, if it's at 12 o'clock, then Juniji. Nani nani ji, o'clock. So for example, like here they say like ichiji, which is 1 o'clock. Ichi is the number here, number 1. And then we have nani nani jin. So jin is represent people because it's the kanji of people like this. And usually if you add a country at the front and then add jin, basically it shows the nationality of that person. So for example, if you add Nihon, which is the word for Japan actually. Nihon, Nihon, which is Japan. And then you plus with, you add jin at the back. So basically it becomes Japanese, the nationality of that person. Or for example, it can be like Malaysian, Malaysia jin. So nani nani jin. So basically you just add a country at the front. Country's name. And then it will become the nationality of that person. Nani nani jin. And then we have senko. So this one I think I've told you before. Senko actually means major or the course that you are taking. For example, some of you guys are like DTI Senko, the course of, oh no. No. ちょっと待って。ちょっと待って、ちょっと待って。Lambatnya. Okay. Okay. So, for example, DTI Senko, or for example, like mine, Kokusai Business Senko. So, Senko, which is major or basically the course that you are taking or you're studying right now. Senko. And then the next one is Sensei. So I think most of you guys know this one. It means teacher or professor or even lecturers. Sensei. Basically, this one is like how you pronounce it, but if you will spell in Romaji, it is Sensei. And this one is Senko. Sensei. And in Japan, like for Malaysia, if were it to be lecturer, you can call that person by Miss or Madam or Sir, you know, that kind of betul title. But in Japan, mostly they just call them by Sensei. Even doctors in Japan, they call it Sensei actually. So, Sensei. And then the next one is so this. So this. So this means that's right. So basically you are agreeing. So for example, someone was saying something and then this is favorite word. So. So this. And then someone were to say something and then you kind of like agree with that person, you would say that so this ne. Usually they would add ne at the back. So this ne at the back. So this ne. And then the next one is basically the same, but instead they have ka at the back, which is ka represents a question mark actually.
betul question mark. So basically it's like asking like, is that so? Or depending on your betul tone, and you'll be like, so desu ka? Like that, it will be like basically, I see. So the difference is like, so desu ka? Is like the ka is like the tone is going up a bit, it's basically asking the question. But if it's like going down the tone, like so desu ka, it's basically like saying I see. So, and then the next one is daigaku. So before we learned that koko is high school, but if you were to go into university or college, basically you call it as daigaku. Daigaku. So, for example, like right now, we have MSU as a daigaku. So, daigaku, MSU daigaku. But MSU itself is already the U itself. MSU, the U already presents university. So you don't really have to put daigaku lah at the back. So daigaku. The next one is denwa. So denwa is actually telephone, or it can also mean call. So call, a call basically. Denwa, denwa, telephone. There's also another word for telephone, which is keitai. So this is also, it means like phone. But nowadays, they kind of just use sumaho. The word sumaho, which represents smartphone actually. Sumaho, smartphone. So, sumaho. And then next, we have tomodachi. So tomodachi, I think most of us know, it means friend. So tomodachi. If it's like something that is a lot more closer to you, like best friend, you use chinyu. Chinyu. So this one is best friend, chinyu. Tomodachi is just friend. So chinyu. Or another word for best friend, they can also use mabudachi. Mabu. I'm not so sure what they use actually. It's either katakana or hiragana for this one, but you call it mabudachi. Mabudachi. So that is tomodachi. The next one is, I think most of us know, namae, which means name. Namae, your name or a name. Then we have the question word. Question word. Question word. So basically, none is like what, and nani is also what, but none is kinda like a short form. For example, it can be like kore wa nani? Kore wa nan desu ka or nani? Nan desu ka you use with like the desu ka. But nani is like, how do you say it? It's the full form of the word nani. It comes from nani, but if you add something at the back, you will change it to nan actually. So, kore wa nan desu ka? Kore wa nani, for example, if it's like the impolite version or the casual form of the speech. So this is what, basically. And then we have Nihon. So Nihon, I think most of us know, is Japan. Nihon. Or you can also say Nippon. Another way of pronouncing Japan. Nippon. Nippon. And then we have Nensei. So Nensei is basically your student. So at the front here is you have to add you put a number at the front. For example, you want to say you're a first year student, then you say ichinensei. Like this one. Ichinensei or ninensei, which is second year student. Usually it's until the apa tu yonense, which is the 4th year lah, student. Yonense, basically until there. And then we also have the height. So this one is the other version of A, the one that we learned, which means yes. And then we also have han. So han actually means like half. So this one is usually used for the time actually. Time punya, stating the time. For example, the one that we just used just now, which is juji han, juji, juji, which is 10 o'clock, right? Juji. But if you put han at the back, han, basically this one represents like 30 minutes. So if it's used for like time. So juji han is basically like 10:30 lah. The han represents the 30 minutes. So you can also say like juji 30分 instead of han. So 30分, the pun actually represents the minute lah. Pun or fun. This one we will learn later how to differentiate the reading of the end of minute. 30分 or you can use han. 10時半 30 minutes. If 10:30 p.m. then it is gogo 10時半. Betul tu? So. So gogo 10時半 then is 10:30 p.m. If it's 10:30 p.m. then you just say 午前10時半. So. That is correct. Then we have bango. No problem. Bango. So bango means number. Bango. So it can be like if you want to say phone number, then you can say this one, then one, which means telephone, and then you add bango. So telephone number. Number is denwa bango. So this one is telephone number. For example, you want to say, can you tell me your phone number? Then you say, denwa bango oshiete kudasai. For example, denwa bango oshiete kudasai. So that is bango number. No. Aya. すいません、皆さん。ちょっと待ってね。なんで Why is not connecting? Is it connecting? Okay. Yes. iPad no daijoubu today, so today iPad is no daijoubu. Okay. So next one we have ryugakusei. So just now we learned that gakusei means student actually, the one atas tadi. So gakusei means student. But if it's ryu, it is overwhelmed by the amount of students joining tonight. True. So ryu actually represents the international, or you can also say foreign. So ryu. So if it's ryu gakusei, it's international student or foreign student. So, and then we have lastly is watashi. So watashi, I think everyone knows, it means if referring to yourself. Watashi. So far 大丈夫ですか？質問ありますか？
大丈夫。
I'm sorry if I'm going a bit too early. I mean too fast because study the time has been wasted because of this iPad no daijoubu today. But don't worry, after class you can ask any questions that you want. So we go to the next one, which is countries. So basically this is more to like you guys memorizing on how to spell and how to pronounce each country. Katakana. So katakana. So I guess first one is America. So this one is quite easy because you can just remember America, but you just have to make it a bit Japanese accent, I guess. America, which means America, the United States. So, but for Britain, it's a bit hard. Britain, because they don't say Britain, but instead they say Igirisu. You say no, iPadu wa daijoubu janai. So you say Igirisu for Britain or UK basically. Igirisu. And then yes, the Australia. Australia. So this one is important that you remember the spelling because it has this long sound, which is the double one. Australia. Australia, which means Australia. Australia. And then next we have Kankoku. So if you notice, Kankoku suddenly is in hiragana, right? So the reason why it's in hiragana is because they actually have the kanji of it. They have a kanji for Kankoku. That's why they use hiragana. But the kanji we will learn in the future later. So Korea is Kankoku. And then we have Sweden. Sweden. So of course they have a long sound here. So a double letter here. Sweden, which means Sweden. And see, oh no. Oh no. I see. Okay. Then we have, lastly is Chugoku. Chugoku, which means China. So the reason why it is in hiragana is the same reason why Kankoku is in hiragana too. It's because they have the kanji of it. So Chugoku, the kanji, they have it, which we will learn later in the future. So that is countries. Then we have majors. So majors, the one we just learned just now is Senko. 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 Majors or course. Senko. So the first one we have Kagaku. So Kagaku is basically science. Kagaku. This one is more to I just memorizing actually. So, Kagaku. PTI major of soyo. Oh no. Arimasu, arimasu. 後で教えます. So, first is Kagaku, which means science. And then the next one is Asia Kenkyu. Asia Kenkyu, which means Asian studies. So Asia is the katakana of Asia. 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 So, and then Kenkyu is actually study or like, yeah, it's more to research or study actually, Kenkyu. The word Kenkyu. Study or research. The word Kenkyu. And then we have Keizai. Keizai, which means economics. Keizai. And then we have Kokusai Kanke. Kokusai Kanke, which means international relations. So Kokusai, the word Kokusai is international. And then Kanke is relation actually. Kanke, Kokusai Kanke. Why not Ryu? What do you mean? Ryu?
Apa beza Kokusai dengan Ryu?
Oh, Ryu. The kanji Ryu is it? Check mate. Let me check the kanji. Ryugakusei, you mean the Ryugakusei yang international student, is it?
Yeah.
Ah, I see, I see. So Ryugakusei punya Ryu is, sekejap, sekejap.
Because you say that Ryu kan international juga. So kita orang confused.
I see, I see. So Ryu actually the international student punya Ryu. So it's something related to the kanji actually. So Ryu gakusei. So this one is the international student. And the other one is kokusai. Kokusai is so this is international. So the difference is that ryu gakusei punya ryu ni, it comes from the word apa tu ryu gaku only, which means this is actually means to study abroad. Actually, it comes from this word ryu gaku. So it is actually a verb where you just basically add you say ryu gaku suru is a verb, which is to study abroad. So when basically what this sentence means is like a student that studies abroad, basically. So that is why it kind of translate into this meaning of international student, because this student is not from that country. She or he is studying abroad at other countries. So basically that student is considered as an international student. So that is the meaning of this ryu actually. If it's for the kokusai, this international, this one is basically the meaning is like the apa tu? How do you say this? This kanji means country. Oh my. Country. And this kanji actually means like, I guess a side or like time lah basically. Kokusai. So kokusai is something that is related to other countries too. The meaning of kokusai. So that's why in this case, the reason why it is used for the kanji of this study is because it's a study of different countries too. So kokusai is more to worldwide. So ryu is more to outsider people. Rather than outsider people, it's more to like a student who is studying outside of their country. Basically, ryu. That ryu. So that's the difference. So far, 大丈夫ですか? Can you see the difference?
Hi, very
Oh my god.
daijobu sensei. Very daijobu.
Oh my god. If only I could lower down your voice right now. You is used more to humans. Yes, it's more to humans related lah. So. But this one is more to like between countries. Kokusai, the international between countries worldwide. Eerie. So, okay, we go for the next one, which is computer. Computer, which is computer basically. Computer, major computer simple. Chetamate. So some of you guys might confuse what's the difference between computer and pasokom. So computer is basically computer which is related to more to PC actually. But if it's pasokom, it's more to what you call it, laptop. It's laptop. That's the difference actually. So pasokom is more like smaller that you can bring anywhere lah, but computer is more to the PC. That's the difference. So we have computer senko. And the next one is jinrigaku. Jinrigaku. So basically this is this word, but if you were to say it more on a layman term, it's more to the study of human actually. So jinri is basically human types or human, different kind of human actually, the meaning.
Dia cakap bio ke?
Not really actually. It's more to like I guess it's more to literature or culture punya study, which is the study of humanity or mankind actually. The general meaning. It's humanity or mankind, the meaning. Jinri gaku. So the gaku is like basically study lah. Studies. So Jinri gaku. And then we have Seiji. So Seiji is basically politics. Seiji. Next, we have Bijinesu. Bijinesu, which means business. Bijinesu. Business. The basically is the katakana. And then we have Bungaku. Bungaku, which means literature. Bungaku. And lastly, we have Rekishi. Rekishi, which means history. Rekishi. So that is for what you call it? For majors. Next is occupation. So occupation is basically this one, the first one, shigoto. Shigoto have a variety of meaning. It can mean work or job or also occupation. For example, you want to ask like what is that person's occupation, then you'll be like shigoto wa nan desu ka? You know, that kind of meaning. Shigoto wa nan desu ka? What is your occupation? If you want to say I have work or I have a job, ima chotto shigoto ga arimasu. Shigoto ga arimasu. If you were to say like that, then it will become the meaning of job or work. Shigoto. Next, we have isha. Isha. So isha means doctor. Sometimes you will, if you to say like that doctor, so you'll be like isha-san. Usually at isha-san. San is the one that you, the meaning of Mr. or Mrs. But if you are to refer to talk to that doctor, you refer to that doctor as sensei. Sensei, watashi no karada wa daijoubu desu ka, for example. You refer to that doctor as sensei. Next, we have kaisha-in. Kaisha-in. So kaisha itself means office or company. Kaisha. Company. So the in kanji represents worker actually. Kaisha-in. Office worker. Then we have kokosei. So we just learned the word koko, which means high school. But if you add the word sei at the back, it will become high school student. It comes from the word gakusei punya sei actually. So kokosei. And then we have shufu, which means housewife. Shufu. So shufu. Next, we have daigaku insei. So daigaku insei. So it's quite different than this below one, which is daigakusei. So basically daigakusei is university because we learned daigaku is university or college. So basically daigakusei is college student or university student. But if it's daigaku-in, so daigaku-in is more to like graduate school actually. You know, after degree. You call it daigaku-in, the one that you study masters or PhD, those kind of stuff. So you call it daigaku-in. But if you add say at the end, then basically it becomes a student lah, referring to a student. So that is daigaku-in-sei and daigaku-sei. And lastly, we have bengoshi. Bengoshi means lawyer. So bengoshi. And then lastly, we have family. So family, we have, of course, the basic one, which is first one is okasan. Okasan, which means mother. And then we have otosan, which means father. Next is one-san, which is older sister. Oni-san, which is older brother. And then imoto, which is younger sister. And ototo, which is younger brother. However, in Japan, in Japanese itself lah, basically, oh my, the screen is so lagging. Okay. So basically in Japan, if you were this one usually you use to refer someone else's family. Someone else's family. Family basically. But if you were to refer your own family, okay, the screen is lagging. Okay. If you were to refer your own family, basically mother, your own mother, you call it haha. Haha. And then if it's father, you call it chichi. If it's older sister, you call her ane. Ane. If it's older brother, you call it ani. Call him ani. But if it's like the younger sister and younger brother, basically you use the same one lah. Imoto and ototo. So only this one is what you usually to refer your own family members. If it's this one, is usually you use to refer to other people's family members. That's the difference actually. But sometimes if you were like, you know how like in Malay we have like ibu or umi or ma, that kind of different calling, right? So the same goes for Japanese. Instead of haha, they might call their mother as oka-chan, which is more to like macam quite closer kind of way of calling your mother lah. Oka-chan or oto-chan, one-chan, oni-chan. So you add chan at the back. That is one of the way you can call your family members lah. So that's the difference actually. Is everyone daijoubu? Shitsumo arimasu ka?
大丈夫。
Right. Then I guess we go for the grammar. Today we might end a bit late though. Is it okay for everyone?
問題ない。
OK じゅ。
Okay. Idea. Okay. No, this is for you. So okay, the reason why I want to enter the grammar today juga is because that yesterday one of you guys asked for about the particles, right? So this is where I will explain the difference between the particle of wa and ga. Wa and ga. Wa and ga. Okay. So first we learn this grammar first. So basically the grammar, the most basic grammar in Japanese is this one. X, wa, y, this. X, wa, y, this. So basically what this thing is saying is that X is actually a topic. So, watashi no. Well, you have to add wa after watashi, so you'll do that. Watashi wa anai desu. Nice. So X is the topic.
Stop moving.
Oh, no. Sayang. Cepat mati. I wonder why. I wonder how. I wonder why. Kenapa dia tak nak? Ya. Okay. Not the lemon tree. Okay. So X is the topic. Wa, the particle wa is actually the what you call it, the topic marker. And then Y is actually something about X. And the word this is basically saying it is. It is. So basically this is what the use of this grammar. X, Y, Y, this. So basically you want to tell more about the topic X, but the point of wa is the topic marker basically is kind of like is in English. So this is the use of wa. So for example, the first one, Kita cari siapa nak baca ni. Then how about first we start with Kanemi. Kanemi.
じゅ、じゅ、12時半です。
そう。12時半です. So this one is basically focusing more on what is desk. This part lah, this part below. Basically, it's focusing on this one first. So 12時半です. So the point of desk is basically it is, but the difference between the English is that usually in English you start at the front. It is what, but if it's in Japanese, it's usually at the end. Desk is always used at the end of the sentence. So 12時半です. So 12 is 12. And then Ji is what I explained is a clock. And then Ham is 30 minutes or half. So it is basically the sentence is explaining it is 12:30. So 12時半です. Next one is cari siapa pula? Nayas. Dozo.
学生です。
So. Gakusei desu. So basically this one is ending the sentence. Basically it's just say I am a student without the adding watashi wa lah. Usually there's watashi wa gakusei desu. So. And then lastly, Kiss, you want to try?
日本語です。
So. 日本語です. So 日本語です basically usually at the front you would add 専攻 which is your topic. 専攻は and then at the back is about the topic. So 専攻は is basically is in this context. 専攻は日本語です. For example. So right, the screen light is real. Okay. So basically this one is the explanation of that it is basically. So far 大丈夫ですか?
Yes.
Right. So then the next one is using the full grammar as it is. So X, Y, Y does. So basically X is the topic, Y is the topic marker, which is basically in this one is, and Y is something about X, an explanation about X. And this is the way to just end the sentence. So for example, like this one. Siapa tak panggil lagi tadi? Kasih. Dozo. Oh, Ella kita tinggalkan di satu ni bawah ni. Kasih.
Oh, sorry. 戦後は日本語です。
そう。専攻は日本語です。So basically 専攻 is the X, which is the topic. And then wa is the topic marker, which is in this term is basically is. And then Nihongo is the explanation about the topic. Okay, let's question the door. Explanation about the topic. Coba baca ni betul. Iya. So, Nihongo is the explanation about the topic. And then this is just ending the word basically it is. So basically they are what this context is Senko wa Nihongo desu. My major is Japanese language. So, nani nani wa nani nani desu. X what? Y this. X is basically Y in this context. Then Ella, you can. Oh wait. I just realized they have the Romaji down there. And Ella, can you read? Because there's no one saying reading the Romaji. No point of typing.
Baca je lah yang bawah tu.
Boleh. Yang ni je.
boleh. Watashi wa Tsukimu desu.
So. Watashi wa Tsukimu desu. Watashi wa Tsukimu desu. So basically this one is X is the topic. Watashi is the topic. And then wa is the topic marker, which is is. Or like saying, or in this case is M, the topic marker. And then Tsukimu is basically the explanation about X. Explanation about X. And this translation. So basically it means I am Tsukim. So watashi wa Anais desu. So you use like that one. Not only about explaining your name, you can use for other contexts too. For example, like this one, who wants to read? Basically, there's already Romaji there down there. Who wants to read this one? The last one was simple. This that is true. So basically, the next one is Yamashita-san wa sensei desu. So Yamashita-san is the topic. Wa is the topic marker. And sensei is the explanation about X, about the topic. So basically, they're saying that Yamashita-san is a teacher. Mr. Yamashita is a teacher. And lastly is that Miyari-san wa America jin desu. So Miyari-san is the topic X. And then we have wa, the topic marker. And then America jin is the explanation about X, which is American. America jin. Jin is people, so basically you add country, and jin will become the nationality of that person. So basically Mary is an American. So this is actually the use of the particle wa. So far, do you guys understand? Daijoubu desu ka? Yes, okay. So you guys have you guys learned the particle ga?
No. Or
You
have-
haven't learned the particle ga.
No, I don't think so. There's not like an
No.
in-depth explanation about it though.
Did I explain? Okay.
Yeah.
So some of you guys might be confused, like what's the difference between wa and ga? What is understand in Japanese? Wakarimasu. So usually you say wakarimashita. So then I shall explain the difference between wa and ga then. So first we have wa. Oh no. Wa, the one that we just learned just now. So basically wa is how do you say? Yalah geramnya. Hiya. Okay.
Siji, nak tanya kenapa wa tu dia guna hiragana ha? Kenapa dia tak guna hiragana wa?
This is something.
Ke aku yang tak reti baca?
I mean, yes, technically it's actually the hiragana of ha
Dengar
actually
tak?
kan. Dengar. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh no.
Kisah?
Kiss, can you hear me, Kiss?
Oh, internet masalah kot.
Kali tu I was muted by Kiss. Kiss, can you hear me?
Yes,
Ah, okay.
Okay.
I can see you.
Okay. So technically, yes, you are actually correct. The hiragana is actually the reading is ha, but only for the particle. When it comes to the particle, is actually pronounced as wa. So the reason why is because if you were to form a sentence, it's quite hard to say it when it's the sound of ha actually. For example, that watashi ha, it will be a bit different. Bukan different, it's a bit hard to pronounce it. This is what from what I understand now. So only when it comes to the particle, they have a special reading. So this one is something that you have to get used to, actually, to know the difference whether this is actually a particle or not. So that is actually the reason why we also learn kanji, is to differentiate between a noun dengan a particle. So that is the reason why we learn kanji actually. So this one is more to the what you call it, the law of the Japanese, I guess. I also do not understand why they would use wa instead of ha. So this is something that you have to keep in mind now. So, 大丈夫ですか?
Okay, thank you.
Sabarlah. This is the challenges in learning Japanese. May suka hati diorang cakap ha wa. I mean, they're the one who made the language. There's not a whole lot we can do about it. Okay. So first we have wa. So wa is actually used, or like it's basically is a topic particle, and this particle
Asha,
like
you have more chicken?
stresses
You have more chicken? There's one more
the information.
Is it baked, the spicy one? They look like this. They are like my thumbs living like that.
Come after. Okay. So you guys might be a bit confused. Comes after it. Okay. So you guys might be confused. Okay, what's the difference between ga then? So let me explain the use of ga first then. So ga is ga usually goes after a word or phrase to pick up it up. That's the subject of the sentence. So basically, person or thing before is doing or something. So this one, you guys would still be confused by just reading this one, I think. So it would be better if I were to give an example first. Okay. So there are two examples which actually both can be used. これは, oh my. これはペンです. And the other one is これがペンです. So both of these sentences, you can actually use it, which is both are correct. Both particle can be used. However, depending on the particle, the meaning of the focus of the the sentence is different. So the first one is kore wa pen desu, as what you can see this one. So wa is actually a topic particle that stresses the information that comes after it. So basically, in this case, this one, it actually focuses on the pen. The pen. Basically, it focuses on the information that comes after wa, which is pen, this. It focuses on about this is a like this is a pen basically. However, if it's like kore ga pen desu, it basically focuses on before the ga. So basically, it focuses on this thing, which is kore ga. Kore ga actually means this. Basically this thing lah. So that is actually the difference between wa and ga. Yes, you can ask a question. Kanin dozo.
Tapi kan nampak macam sama je.
Nampak je sama je. Okay, jap. First kita dengar Kanin punya soalan dulu, then I'll try to explain more further.
Aku dah confused teruk dah Ella.
Betul.
Confused desu ka?
Confused. You can leave the classroom or you can dismiss yourself again. How do we say that in Japanese? Okay, how do you say that in Japanese? I mean, I'm not so sure if it's like the online way of saying things, because usually they would say like you can just keep the Zoom, right? But if we were to do like a face to face, like they would usually just say like apa tu jugyo, apa tu kore jugyo jugyo ga owarimasu, something like that actually. Face to face, I mean a class face to face or something. So they would say lah jugyo ga owarimasu. Okay. So are you wondering like why they use ga, is it?
Yes.
Oh, was that the question, Kanimi? Oh, okay. I see. I thought it was a question related to the wa or ga. Okay, okay. So for those who are still confused between wa and ga. So basically, ga actually stresses on the front part of the sentence. Kore ga pen desu. For example, like you saying like watashi wa Atika desu, for example, right? Watashi wa Atika desu. So basically, I'm just saying that the focus is towards my name. I am Atika, or my name is Atika. Watashi no namae wa Atika desu. It focuses on my name. But if I were to say watashi ga Atika desu, it's basically like I'm Atika. Can you see the difference? It's like I'm Atika. If it's
So
like what?
Boleh lah guna ga.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So maksudnya dia more serious lah kalau guna ga. Macam
ga is like you are talking about the, how do you call it? The front part, like basically the sentence or the word that goes before ga. Basically the sentence or the word before ga is kind of like the protagonist, in other words. Oh
ada
no.
ada contoh lain tak Sensei? Dia
Contoh
macam
lain.
tapi tak faham.
Okay. Contoh macam watashi. Why can't I say watashi ga? Same thing kan? I guess it's actually It's actually macam nak cakap you can use both actually. It's both correct, except that it depends on the context, what you are trying to focus on. Hold on, let me check another, what you call it, another example of ga and wa. Cepat nanti ni.
Sorry everyone, kita drag lama hari ni.
Mungkin
No, I mean it's okay because it's actually important for you guys. How do sekejap, let me find. Apa ni? If watashi ga, then you focus on the person, not the explanation about the person. Yes, that is actually correct. Yeah, betul. It focuses on that person, watashi. It focuses on the watashi. Basically, like saying I'm. For example, watashi ga anayas desu, for example, right? So basically, you're saying I'm. You are pressing on the word I'm anayas. So I'm anayas. If it's like watashi wa anayas desu, basically you are focusing on the word anayas. Oh, my name, like I'm betul. I am Anayas. My name is Anayas. Basically in that sentence.
Oh, so macam kalau orang tanya siapa Anais, so kita cakap watashi ga Anais.
So. Yes.
Tapi kalau orang tanya siapa kita jawab watashi wa Anais desu.
Yes. Betul.
Ah, okay.
So. Ya Allah, gue jadi subject. So, for example, like apa tu, someone is asking you, betul which one is sensei's contoh for example like sensei's bag, right? My bag and kabam. Dochi ga sensei no kabam desu ka, for example. Then you would say like, kore ga sensei no kabam desu. You are focusing on this. Kore ga kabam desu. Or for example, like if you want to say that you basically want to introduce or you want to tell that this is sensei punya bag, kore wa sensei no kabam desu. So if someone asks who are you, what is your occupation, like that, we use wa to yes, betul. Yes, betul. If someone asks who is taking this major, then you would emphasize on the on who actually. So that is the difference between ga and wa actually. So. Yes. So that is actually the difference between wa and ga. It depends on the context. So which one you want to stresses the part. So that is sometimes why apa tu wa and ga can be quite confusing. Yes. So yes, that's the difference actually. So basically, wa is something you focus on the explanation about the topic. The explanation about the topic, but ga is focuses on the before the explanation. It focuses on the topic itself. Are you guys okay?
Yes, so far yes lah. InsyaAllah.
For betul can sensei give an example satu macam ni. Okay, for example like apa tu, you can kodomo ga asonde iru, for example. Yes. Can you see the screen moving? Or is it say that it's minimized? For example, the guy, for example, the guy punya kodomo ga asonde iru. So basically, this context is basically saying the children are playing. So if you see the ga, basically they are focusing on the kodomo. The children are playing right now. So that is the ga. Kodomo ga asonde iru. So basically, it kind of depends on the question too. Like, ano hito wa for example, like someone is asking, oh, who is that person kan? Ano hito wa dare desu ka? Then you would say, ano hito wa nani nani sensei desu. Ano hito wa nani nani san desu. But if they were to ask like, which one, dore ga, which one is, for example, which one is the chocolate ice cream? I mean, this is kind of obvious, but dore ga chocolate ice cream desu ka? Then you would say, kore ga chocolate ice cream desu, while pointing on that thing, for example. Yes. So they are like asking which one, for example, like the question like which one, then you use ga. So. Which one, or like which person is this sensei girl, you know, that kind of question. So usually you can see by hearing the question. Some question will also use, if the question use ga, then you definitely have to use ga too when answering. Saya ni kisi tahu. So that is the difference between wa and ga. So that is one of the particles that you just learned today. Since we actually ran out of time, it's almost 11, we couldn't go to the next particle, which is, what is it? The particle of no. This one we learn next week, that no, and then the question sentence, which is like ka. Punya dalam debate ka and one. So that is the difference. Yes. That's it for today's class. As usual, if there's any question, I'll be here for you guys to ask.
Sensei, last soalan.
No worries.